The sun set fiercely behind the jagged outline of the tree line, casting long shadows over the remnants of the old Millhaven Community Center, a place as forgotten as the stories it harbored. Nestled at the confluence of two narrow roads just outside this quiet New England town, the once vibrant building now lay derelict, its windows shattered, a graffiti-ridden facade bowing to time's relentless pressure. Millhaven itself was the kind of town where nothing much happened, and if something did, people kept to their own, circling their wagons rather than speaking out loud. It was said that people disappeared here, lured by whispers of lost pathways and secrets buried in the damp, loamy earth of the surrounding woods. Most agreed that the stories were just that, stories told to keep children in after dark, tales shared over beers in the flickering campfire's glow. But one of those tales had come to resurface more recently, with a face and a name: Patrick Newell. A year had passed since Patrick, just a freshman at Millhaven High, failed to return home one chilly October night. His footsteps vanished like the morning frost, leaving behind nothing but confusion and fear. The official story held that he had run away, a teen in search of brighter pastures. However, those who knew Patrick best found it unlikely. He was a boy with deep ties to his friends and family, not the sort to simply vanish into thin air. In hushed voices, behind closed doors, people spoke of other possibilities. Their whispers carried through the air, winding through the cracks of old homes, suggesting the return of what they termed the empty person. A tale of a shadowy figure who appeared only in reflections and dreams, persuading the unwitting to leave behind their lives for promises that could never be fulfilled. Despite the warnings, despite the chilling uncertainty that clung to Millhaven like a shroud, the town inevitably embraced Halloween. Main Street was a cascade of pumpkins, faux cobwebs, and skeletons smiling benignly from shop windows. It was amidst this backdrop that Sarah Mulligan, a sophomore and a friend of Patrick's, found herself on the dais of yet another unavoidable holiday tradition, the town's annual Haunted Walk, a fundraiser put together by the high school drama club. Sarah scoffed at such superstitions, being of the pragmatic ilk, though her protests had done little to deter her two best friends, Henry and Lucy, from dragging her along. "It's just to share some scares and some laughs," Lucy had insisted, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Besides, aren't you curious about what happened to Patrick that night?" Henry, somewhat less enthused by the prospect of ghost hunting, shrugged with an anxious smile. He was tall, almost gangly, with a perpetual look of surprise, much as if life was an endless stream of events unfolding just to perplex him. And yet, he too had been fond of Patrick. What if we find something, though? Sarah rolled her eyes, yet a knot of unease twisted in her stomach, coiled tight. It was more than the night, more than the stories. It was the feeling that something in this place, this town, had grown aware, like a sleeper stirring in the depths of troubled dreams. The haunted walk led them to the steps of the old community center, its doors yawning open as if inviting them into a forgotten world. The plan was simple. Pairs or small groups would enter, follow the mock spooky attractions set up by the drama club seniors, and emerge on the other side, rattled or amused, often both. No one ever got left behind, that was the rule. Sarah, Henry, and Lucy entered together, joining in with Max and Jenny, two seniors tasked with both guiding and monitoring their progress. Flashlights bobbled in the dim light, casting erratic beams over peeling posters and dusty wooden chairs. Somewhere, an artificial ghost made of tattered sheets flittered down from the ceiling, their loudspeaker-enhanced wails echoing through the bright halls. It was juvenile fun, a playful interlude from reality's grip. Lucy snorted. "If this is supposed to be some counterpart to the Nightmare on Elm Street, they need to up their game," she muttered. The comments drew a giggle from Jenny, whose own flashlight danced across the faded town-centric murals that clung desperately to the walls. Each mural was a once proud display of Millhaven's history: a bustling marketplace, the establishment of the train station, the proud opening of the local school, and curiously, an image of a reflective pool set deep within the woods, circles of stones gathered around its edge. It seemed older than the rest, and inexplicably, unease settled over Sarah again, tightening that invisible knot in her stomach. She found her gaze lingering on the scene, a shiver trailing down her spine like a soft exhale of breath against her skin. As they continued, eerie sounds, manufactured for theatrical effect, began permeating the air. Faint, ceremonial music, whispers melding into chants, the crackling of unseen fires. Yet it was something the others dismissed, something that melded with the burble of teenage conversation and nervous laughter. "So Patrick came here that night, right?" Henry's voice was hushed, uncertain. "A dare or something?" "No one knows," Max replied, his eyes flicking over them, ever the guide. "But people figure he got lost in the woods beyond and," he trailed off, shrugging, "or the empty person got him." It was meant in jest, but the silence that followed was heavier than any laugh could disguise. It stuck around, a ghost of worried thoughts too grim to voice aloud. The group pressed onward, but soon disturbances became obvious, creeping in uninvited. Their scripted route turned confusing. Hallways seemed to stretch longer, branching in unexpected directions. Flashlight beams revealed little more than dust and the relentless passage of time. Jenny and Max grew flustered, checking their notes with perplexed expressions. The pattern deviated from the plan. Somewhere behind them, a door creaked, footsteps echoed, yet no one appeared. "Did someone leave the group?" Lucy asked, her mock bravado slipping. Every instinct in Sarah screamed at her, urging caution, but the rational side insisted that explanation waited in discovery, not retreat. "No," Max said finally. "No one should have left ahead. We were all supposed to stick together." Another wave of footsteps echoed, not from behind, but up ahead, resonant against the distant silence. It was distinct now, beyond the manufactured noise, a real presence stirring in the once desolate building. There was no mistaking it. Sarah caught movement, a flash of shadow that ducked just beyond the edge of light at the end of the hall they faced. It could have been one of the drama club members, separated or redirecting the path, pulling strings to guide the string of fears. Yet Sarah thought she saw more, an impression of something darker, a hint of grievous understanding in the form that briefly lingered before disappearing entirely. "Geez, your imagination's going wild," Lucy said, her earlier nonchalance now conspicuously absent. But curiosity, spurred not so much by logic but a twisted certainty that the night demanded her to follow, nudged Sarah forward, her companions reluctantly trailing. The hall split beyond into several branches, weaving into intersections that defied the building's original floor plan, like a labyrinth expanding under their feet. "Okay, does anyone remember choosing the red pill or something?" Henry muttered nervously, clenching his flashlight. Before them sat a doorway, its surface irregular, as if it shifted by mere sight, its wood dark and ancient, a portal more than a door. Burnt into its center was a symbol unfamiliar to all, but inexplicably significant, embedding deep within their memories, a circle interlaced with radiating lines, all-encompassing. "Is this part of the walkthrough?" Sarah wondered, aloud, feeling the weight of unseen eyes. "We shouldn't," Max advised, sensing growing reluctance among the group, though his assertion was half-hearted at best. "Nothing clears this way." Jenny's voice trembled, her earlier enthusiasm dimming to fear. "We should turn back." Yet it was Henry, unexpectedly emboldened, who first moved closer, his hand reaching for the latch. "We won't break anything," he said resolutely, meeting Sarah's gaze. He hesitated briefly, then twisted the handle, pushing forward. Darkness pooled beyond, a void swallowing the light cast on it, but for a brief instant, Sarah believed she saw something lying beyond the threshold. Stones arranged in a circle, midst the black, silent waters. A reflection mirrored hers, eyes deep and searching, so intently familiar. Recognition hit her like a fist, a vivid recollection of dreams once dismissed. A boy staring back, mouth moving soundlessly in a desperate plea. Then they were stumbling back into the hallway, senses reeling, drawn back by shouts and the disoriented questions of Jenny and Max, who blinked as if waking from a trance. The instant of stunning clarity had rippled, faded as flashes of photographed faces morphing. The sounds returned abruptly, distant mutterings of laughter, overlaid by faint screams too far to place names to. "What did you see?" Lucy asked, eyes wide, grabbing Sarah's arm, as if touch could transmute the understanding that shadows left. I don't know," Sarah said, swallowing hard. It was the only answer she could trust herself to give. But in her core, she understood something had shifted ever so deeply. entwining itself in the spirits of Millhaven and its ephemeral. When they finally emerged from the strange, distorted reality of the community center, groping back into the world bound by rules they understood, the relief was palpable. They didn't speak of it, not completely, but Henry's hand found hers, warm and anchoring against the night. The collective paranoia that hovered around Patrick's name was back with them now. Upon leaving, she caught sight of the symbolic sigil, its form repeated among murals, a history more deeply ingrained than any memory their collective consciousness held. Autumn turned to winter, days wrapped in whispered inquiries that Sarah avoided but could not ignore. She walked the halls of Millhaven High uneasily, faces blurred past, a haze of recognition cool upon encountering what failed to be understood. Though life continued, a biting desolation crept at the edges, as if echoes returned louder than ever before. As leaves retreated to bare frameworks of trees, one realization bled into clarity, a resonant mantra of identity misplaced in space within the hollowed woods of home, one gone from not two, while two returned from how often. There passed another year in silence and speculation, but within Sarah, something restless paced. Not in the woods, but the shallowest places within, biding patiently, steadily calling. A reflection laid out awaiting and secret sighs kept close, ever hidden, yet barely out of mind. And thus, the guardian of unearthed truths lingered beyond reason's beckoning, embedding a truth transformed, and Millhaven, having lost one, existed forevermore intertwined, distrusting the fluid grounds that once might shield the dark.